Okay, so you've been hearing it right. The whispers, the rumors, like a secret spreading through the financial corners of the internet. Silver, it's about to have its moment. But is this really the start of some massive silver surge? Or is it just hype? Well, let's dive in and find out.
It's certainly got everyone's attention.
Right.
Gold's going crazy, hitting those record highs, and it feels like everyone's on the hunt for that next big investment. And silver, well, silver's always been known for its dramatic swings, so naturally it's grabbing the spotlight.
Exactly. And we've been bombarded with requests from listeners just like you,
Yeah.
wanting us to unpack this whole silver situation.
Yeah.
You want to know if it's really poised for a comeback? So we've been going through articles, research, the whole nine yards.
Right.
And one piece from All About Finance UK really stood out.
Interesting.
They're predicting silver could hit $50 an ounce.
Oh.
I mean, that's a huge jump from where it is right now. So what's driving this bullish outlook on silver?
So they make a pretty compelling argument, and it starts with this concept called the gold-silver ratio. But don't worry, it's not as complicated as it sounds.
Okay.
It basically tells us how many ounces of silver it takes to buy a single ounce of gold, kind of like a price comparison.
Okay, that makes sense. So what's the ratio telling us right now? Like, what's the current state of silver?
So as we're talking, it's sitting at 84 to 1, meaning you would need 84 ounces of silver to get your hands on a single ounce of gold.
Wow.
But historically, this ratio has been closer to 70 to 1.
Mm.
So their argument is that if it goes back, reverts back to that historical average, silver would have to make a significant jump in price.
So it's like silver's on sale right now, at least compared to gold.
Kind of, yeah.
But if we look beyond just this ratio, what else is fueling this whole idea of a silver surge? Because a historical trend doesn't guarantee future results, right?
You're absolutely right, and this is where things get really interesting. The article points to a link between silver and something you probably use every single day, artificial intelligence.
Okay, I think I see where you're going with this silver. It's in all those AI chips, right?
Exactly. It's crucial for making those powerful chips, and the demand for AI, it's exploding. Think about it. AI is everywhere. In our phones, even self-driving cars rely on it. More AI equals more chips. More chips means a greater need for silver.
Oh, wow. It's like a chain reaction almost. Increased AI adoption could actually lead to a boost in silver.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the article actually mentioned an analyst prediction that this AI chip demand, it's going to be a major driver of silver prices moving forward. Have you noticed this rise of AI in your own life? I mean, think about it. The apps we use, the devices we rely on, it's everywhere.
It really is. It's incredible. It's a subtle shift that's happening right in front of us.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show how interconnected our world is. A change in one area, like this boom in AI, can directly impact something like the silver market.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it. Like, our everyday interactions with technology could actually be influencing silver prices.
It really is.
It makes you wonder what other hidden connections are out there, you know?
That's a good point. That's a
Yeah.
good point. It's a good reminder that things that seem totally separate are often connected in these really complex and fascinating ways.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, who would have thought?
Exactly.
Seriously. It's really incredible.
It is.
These hidden connections are everywhere. But getting back to the factors at play here, we can't ignore the elephant in the room. The Federal Reserve just cut interest rates.
Right.
And that usually gets investors looking for opportunities in other areas like, well, like precious metals.
Exactly, because when those traditional investments like bonds are looking less appealing, with those lower interest rates,
Right.
precious metals, they suddenly become a much more attractive option.
Yeah, it's kind of like a seesaw effect.
Exactly, precisely. And when you combine that with the fact that gold is already at those record highs, it kind of creates this, this feeling of, well, if gold is doing so well, shouldn't silver follow?
Yeah, like a gold rush, but for silver.
Yeah.
But before we get too caught up in all the excitement, I think it's important to bring in some, like, healthy skepticism here. The article did mention some opposing viewpoints.
Oh, absolutely. Always important to consider those.
Yeah, and they actually shared some comments from a reader, I think their name was Alexis, who brought up some good counter-arguments. Like, they were not convinced about all this hype, especially when it comes to silver's volatility.
Right.
Because silver is exactly known for its stability, is it?
No, not at all.
I mean, Alexis pointed out those historic price swings, which can be way more dramatic than anything we see with gold.
Exactly. And that's super important for any investor to keep in mind. While there's always the potential for big gains,
Yeah,
there's also the risk of some pretty big losses. That's why diversifying is so important.
absolutely. So It's not a guaranteed path to riches. And Alexis was also a little skeptical about that whole argument about AI demand driving up silver prices.
Right.
They felt like it was maybe being overblown a little.
Again, healthy skepticism is never a bad thing. It's really easy to get swept up in these big narratives, especially in the world of finance and tech. Things move so quickly.
It's true. So what does this all actually mean for someone listening right now who's maybe a little intrigued by silver, but also a little cautious after hearing, both sides?
Sure.
What are the next steps? What should they do?
Well, I think the most important thing to remember is that investing is always personal.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about what your financial goals are, how much risk you're comfortable with. This isn't about us giving you a clear buy or sell signal or anything like that.
Yeah.
Instead, it's about giving you the knowledge, those tools to make an informed choice for yourself.
Exactly. We're equipping you with what you need to know to navigate this whole world.
Precisely. And if silver really grabs your attention after this, especially with everything we've talked about, then this could be the perfect time to do some more research.
Yes. Don't just take our word for it.
Exactly.
Go explore those sections in the article about key statistics and those investment opportunities they talked about.
Yeah, they mentioned silver ETFs,
Right.
which are like, baskets of silver stocks, physical silver if you want to actually hold it,
Right.
and even mining companies for those who want to get into the really nitty-gritty of it all.
Yeah, but remember those risks they mentioned as well. That volatility being a big one.
Huge, and potential economic downturns, we can't forget about those, and even shifts in those monetary policies, because all of those things, they can directly impact the price of silver, just like any other investment.
It's like you're saying, hey, listener, we're giving you the map, but you get to choose the destination and how bumpy a ride you want to take.
Exactly. And speaking of journeys, the article ended on a very interesting note. It talked about how a rise in silver prices could actually be a really good sign for the broader economy.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
They mentioned that Credit Suisse report
Yeah.
that suggested that if silver gets back to that historical average of $50 an ounce, it could actually boost the global GDP by a whole percentage point.
It's a fascinating idea, right?
Yeah.
Almost like silver is this, this barometer for the health of the global economy.
Yeah.
And it makes sense when you really think about it, because if silver prices go up, it could mean that industrial activity is increasing, which usually translates to economic growth.
Yeah, it's like a chain reaction again. Increased demand for electronics, solar panels, all that stuff, all those things that use silver.
Right.
It could be a sign that businesses and consumers are spending more, getting those economic wheels turning.
Exactly. Exactly. Of course, it's not a perfect correlation.
Right.
There are other factors that influence GDP growth, but it does make you think,
Yeah.
could silver be giving us a glimpse into a brighter economic future? Something to think about.
It really is something to think about, especially with, everything going on in the world right now.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into this silver situation, what would you say is the key takeaway for our listeners?
I think the biggest thing to remember is that knowledge is power. By understanding all of those things that drive silver's price, the potential for growth, but also those risks, you can make better, more informed decisions for yourself. Whether you're thinking about, adding silver to your portfolio or just staying ahead of the curve.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So next time you hear someone talking about silver, remember this conversation.
Exact.
So just go with the hype, dig a little deeper, ask those questions, come to your own conclusions.
Right.
Because that's what makes you a savvy investor, right?
Absolutely.
A discerning global citizen.
Until next time.
Until next time, happy exploring, everyone.
Happy exploring.